The night was cold, the kind of bone-chilling cold that gnawed its way through jackets and sweaters, leaving skin numb and breath visible in the frigid air. The ancient abbey sat nestled deep within the woods, abandoned for centuries, or so the stories went. Ivy had claimed its stone walls, and time had weathered its once grand spires, leaving them jagged and broken like the teeth of a rotting giant. A group of friends, lured by curiosity and the thrill of an urban legend, decided this was the night they would explore the forsaken place. Mara led the group, her flashlight cutting through the gloom as the others followed close behind. There were 6 of them in total: Mara, Jason, Danny, Claire, Lily, and Matt. They had been best friends since high school, and despite the growing weight of adult responsibilities, they had vowed to make this trip a final hurrah before life swallowed them whole. "Are you sure about this?" Lily whispered, her breath fogging in the cold. Her eyes darted nervously to the dark trees surrounding them. "Don't be such a baby," Danny teased, though his own voice quivered ever so slightly. "It's just an old building. What's the worst that could happen?" Mara smirked but kept silent. The abbey was said to be haunted by a creature, a watcher, an ancient entity that roamed the halls, guarding something deep within the catacombs. No one knew what, but the stories always ended the same: those who entered never came back, or if they did, they were driven mad, unable to speak of what they had seen. As the group approached the abbey, the wooden door, though old and brittle, creaked open with surprising ease. Inside, the air was musty, carrying the smell of damp stone and decay. The only sound was the faint drip of water echoing from somewhere deep within the halls. "Come on, let's stick together," Mara instructed, glancing over her shoulder as the others nervously shuffled in. The abbey's interior was a labyrinth of long hallways and forgotten rooms. Shadows stretched unnaturally long across the cracked stone floors, and the flickering beams of their flashlights seemed swallowed by the oppressive darkness. As they moved deeper into the abbey, strange markings began to appear on the walls. Jason ran his hand across one of them. "These symbols, they look like eyes." Indeed, the walls were covered in carvings of eyes, hundreds, maybe thousands of them. They were etched in a primitive style, uneven and haunting, as though watching their every move. Claire shuddered as she passed, feeling the weight of unseen gazes pressing on her. "I don't like this," she whispered. Mara, undeterred, pressed on. They were looking for the central chamber, the heart of the abbey where the legend of the Watcher was said to originate. The deeper they went, the colder it became. A chill that wasn't just physical, but something that settled deep in their bones, a feeling of being unwelcome, of being watched. Finally, they reached the massive iron doors that led into the central chamber. They were slightly ajar, an invitation, or perhaps a warning. Mara hesitated for the first time, her hand resting on the cold metal. "We can turn back," Jason said softly, sensing her hesitation. But Mara shook her head. "No. We're here. Let's finish this." They pushed the doors open, revealing a vast chamber with a high vaulted ceiling. The air was heavy with silence, as if even sound was afraid to enter the room. At the far end of the chamber stood a stone altar, and above it, the carvings of the eyes had grown larger, more grotesque, staring down with a malicious intensity. But that wasn't what caught their attention. In the center of the room, bathed in the pale moonlight filtering through a broken window, was a figure. It was tall and thin, its skin pale and translucent, stretched taut over a skeletal frame. Its head was featureless, except for deep, hollow sockets where eyes should have been. But it was the hands that made the group freeze in terror. The creature held its hands in front of its face, and embedded in its palms were eyes, large, unblinking, and eerily human. The eyes swiveled to look at them as the creature slowly lowered its hands, revealing its eyeless, gaping visage. "The Watcher!" Lily screamed, stumbling backward into Matt, who caught her before she could fall. The creature didn't move, but the eyes on its hands followed each of them, watching, studying. Then, without warning, it started to walk toward them, its movements slow but deliberate. Its bare feet made no sound on the cold stone floor, yet the air seemed to thrum with an unnatural energy. "Run!" Mara yelled, but none of them needed to be told twice. They bolted for the door, the creature's long limbs unfolding as it gave chase. The Watcher's gait was loping, unnatural, its arms swinging wide with each step as the eyes in its hands blinked, focusing, unblinking in their terrifying awareness. Jason was the first to reach the door, but as he pushed against it, the heavy iron refused to budge. Panic set in as the others slammed into the door, pushing, pulling, but it was as if the Abbey itself was conspiring against them. The Watcher was getting closer. Mara turned to face the creature, her heart hammering in her chest. She grabbed a piece of broken stone from the floor and threw it at the Watcher, hoping to slow it down. The stone struck the creature's chest with a sickening thud, but it didn't flinch. It didn't stop. As it drew nearer, Mara could see its eyes more clearly, those eyes in its hands, darting wildly, full of madness and hunger. And then she realized, the eyes were not its own. They were the eyes of those it had claimed. A scream rose in her throat, but she couldn't let it out. The creature raised its hands to its eyeless face once more, as if mocking them, and then the hands dropped again. But now, the eyes were gone. "Where are they?" Mara whispered, her voice barely audible. And then she felt it. A searing, stabbing pain in her own eyes, like needles piercing into her skull. She clawed at her face, but it was too late. Her vision went black, and in the final moments before she succumbed to the darkness, she heard the others screaming, felt the Watcher's gaze, her own eyes, watching her, claiming her. The Abbey stands quiet once more, as it has for centuries. The Watcher remains, its collection growing with each passing year. Inside, the stone walls are still adorned with countless eyes, but now, among them are 6 new ones, wide, terrified, and forever trapped within the Watcher's grasp.